Hello, and thank you for joining us for this encore presentation of one of Viking's most special journeys. Our friends at All Travel look forward to building the trip of your dreams, and at Viking, we look forward to welcoming you on board. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Traveling Virtually with Viking. We greatly appreciate the support of our travel advisors and their clients for taking the time to be with us today. Before we get started, I would like to kindly remind you that our virtual chat and Q&A is open, so type those questions in as we go. We'll be answering them during and after the presentation. And today I'd like to welcome Kim Lucy, Director of National Accounts for Viking Cruises in Canada. As a 30-year plus veteran of the cruise industry and passionate traveler, she has explored the world extensively by river and ocean. Let's welcome Kim as we discover Europe's Christmas markets. Kim?
Thank you, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm very excited to talk about Christmas markets. It's one of my favorite things. I'm going to turn off my video. I just wanted to say hello this morning and give you the big screen so that we can get a full experience of the Christmas markets. But I know we are in August and it's probably hot outside, but hopefully this will cool you off a little bit and help you dream about traveling to some of the most beautiful places in Europe during the Christmas season. So let's get started. I wanted to just talk just briefly about Viking. I know many of you have joined us over the past few weeks and probably already know a lot about this, but one of the best ways to see the Christmas markets in Europe is by river ship. You can travel by car, train, airplane, but really the most leisurely and comfortable way to do that is by river ship, and Viking is one of the best companies to work with. We've been in business for over 22 years. We have secured amazing docking locations in the center of town, which allows you to step off and walk straight in to these beautiful Christmas markets, many of them that are just across the street. We also have beautiful, innovative ships with green technology that give you lots of space and wrap you in beautiful light to enjoy it. So I wanted to start also with a little bit of history on the Christmas markets. The Christmas markets date back to the late Middle Ages and mostly come from the German-speaking part of Europe. This part of Europe was part of the Holy Roman Empire and includes a lot of the eastern part of France. The borders between France and Germany were quite fluid over the centuries, even right up to the Second World War. So you'll see that influence of Germany and France. It's particularly in the Alsace-Lorraine area, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go. Some of these Christmas markets date back well into the 1200s. Vienna's December market is considered one of the forerunners of Christmas markets and dates back to 1298. And then in Dresden, the Streitzel market was first held in 1434. Frankfurt and Munich date back to the early 1300s. So these have been ongoing for a long, long time. Many of these, they start around US Thanksgiving, which is usually around the Advent, the beginning of Advent, which is right around the first Sunday of December or the last Sunday in November. And they run for close to a month, usually running up to Boxing or to Christmas Eve, which is when a lot of Europeans traditionally celebrate their Christmas. There's one or two that run into New Year's, but the majority of them run for the month between the 24th, 25th of November through December. Now, these are, in southern Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, these are called the Christkindlmarkt, and these are, or the Christ Child Market. And these are traditionally held in the town square. And on opening night, particularly in Nuremberg, and I'll show you where this happens, it's so beautiful. On opening night in the Christkindlmarkt in Nuremberg and in many of the towns, a child was used to be baby Jesus, or the boy Jesus, but now it's usually represented by an angel-like child dressed with this long flowing golden locks and this golden dress with wings, and she is the one that comes and opens the market. It's kind of like the beauty queen from the state fair, and she presides over the market for the entire period. So it's fantastic. A lot of these I wanted to share also where these markets happen. So as you can see, they happen predominantly through the heart of Europe. Now, England is starting to produce their own Christmas market, but the majority you'll find are in the central part of Germany, through what was the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Austria, Hungary, Poland, and particularly in France. The Netherlands also has started to join in, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. But when they were first introduced, Christmas markets usually only lasted a couple of days, and now they're run for close to a month, as I mentioned. And people have actually been attending and buying these and buying Christmas gifts dating back as early as the 1600s. Things changed a little bit when Martin Luther introduced some new customs, and I'll tell you a little bit about that when we come to Wittenberg to learn about that. But there's some really amazing places to see, and I'm going to share that with you today. Now, a lot of people also ask about what the weather is like. It's going to be too cold to go at this time of year. You've got to think about, it's not going to be super snowy, but you might get a little bit of snow in different places. But predominantly, you're going to find that it's cool. It sits around 32 to 45 degrees for those of you in the US. For Canadians that might be joining us, that's in around you sort of 0 up to about 6 degrees Celsius. So you want to layer up, but it is beautiful, and I think it gives you that atmosphere. So when you're traveling along Christmas markets, you're going to see a variety of different things, including these beautiful, charming little cities, artfully decorated. You can see the beautiful Christmas ornaments that you'll be able to find, Yuletide cookies and cakes, some of them very unique to the areas we visit, like the cinnamon tunnel cakes that you find in Budapest, or the special Leberkuchen that you'll find in Nuremberg that can only be made by a specific bakery. Cobblestone streets, strolling carolers, beautiful storybook villages with snow-capped castles, musical performances, and we do cooking demonstrations. It really is a fantastic experience. And I think one of the things for me when I go, what it reminds me of, we are so caught up in shopping and, shopping for all of our families for that one day. And Christmas market experiences in Europe are more about all of friends and family coming together at the end of the day to share a drink and a conversation and maybe do a little bit of shopping, but it's more about engagement and connection and meeting with your family and friends. It's a fantastic experience, but quite different from what we experience in the Christmas season, which becomes so frenetic and I think exhausting for many of us. That's why I would go every single year if I could. So on board the ships, you can see we beautifully decorate them. We have Christmas trees, we have Christmas displays. You'll get a chance to visit at least 3 of the notable markets along the way. We bring on local entertainers. We have a Christmas tree trimming party. We do gingerbread houses. We have a Christmas sing-along, Christmas quizzes, all of this. And one of the things that I remember from my trip in Cologne was this beautiful Christmas choir that came on, and the kids were between 6 and 13, and they came on board and they sang traditional German Christmas carols, and they also brought homemade Christmas cookies that they shared with all of us. And it was just a magical experience that really added to the cruise for me. Now, as I mentioned, you will get a chance to try some of the cooking demonstrations, and here some of our clients are busy making Christmas gingerbread houses, and you can compare it to the incredible structure that our chefs also make and put out on display through the Christmas season. But it really puts you in the mood, and it's great fun. You can take home your recipe and you can try it at home as well. Now, your hotel is our beautiful ships that are sailing along the river. I'm not going to spend time here, but one of the big advantages is the fact that they are small and intimate, and they can dock in the center of the city. You've still got these beautiful big deck areas where you can sit outside, and we provide blankets, and we have mulled wine and just a place for you to cozy up and to enjoy the scenery as we sail past some of the castles and the beautiful decorated towns. You have a lot of choice. Again, Scandinavian design with big open spaces and big open windows. And that was one of the things, because it does get dark a little bit later or earlier in the day. So to be able to have those windows wrapped around you, you feel like you're sitting in the midst of all those twinkling lights in those beautiful little towns as we're docked and in those areas. We do have a nice selection of staterooms ranging from our standard to our Explorer suites, again with balconies, French balconies, and wraparound balconies in our Explorer suite. So you've got lots of choice depending on your budget and what you want to experience. Now, one of the other things I always love about river cruising is that it's virtually all inclusive. So you do get the shore excursion, you do have multiple dining option choices. We do include the beer, wine, and soft drinks, the specialty coffees, the Wi-Fi, and all of the other incidentals. So you're not going to be digging into your wallet, and anything that's not included, you can pre-purchase in many cases prior to departure. So you'll be ready. So let's take a look at some of these great destinations. My favorite, this is my favorite. If you're going to take the first time a Christmas market cruise, the Rhine Getaway, I think, is my first choice. And the reason I love it so much is that it goes through 4 different countries. It goes through Holland, Germany, France, and Switzerland. And each of these countries is uniquely different with their culture, with their languages, and you really get a sense of the differentiation between the different market experiences. As you travel through the Danube, because they were all part of the German Austro-Hungarian Empire, they are a little bit more similar. They're still amazing, but this one really stood out for me because the differences between the markets were significantly different. So here we'll visit Amsterdam, we will visit Cologne, Speyer in Germany, which is an entrance to Heidelberg, Strasbourg, the Black Forest, and also Basel. So I'm just going to pull out some of the highlights. One of my favorite places is Cologne. Cologne is one of my favorite cities to visit anyway, but at Christmas time, it's fantastic. It's a really intriguing mixture of old and new, and it really reveals the Roman heritage in its layout and the ancient ruins that you'll find that still lie beneath the city. And there are some excavations where you'll see that. But it's a wonderful city, and where we dock, you walk up the street, and within about 5-10 minutes, you're right here in the main square around the Dome Cathedral. The cathedral is quite famous. It's one of the largest Gothic cathedrals in Europe, and it's over 1,000 years old. And it's magnificent to go into, and you can just imagine during the Christmas period what it looks like inside, and you'll be able to hear some of the carolers and take in some of the sights from the steeple as well. So here, the Advent time in Cologne, it runs between November and, as I mentioned, November 23rd to around the 23rd, 24th of December this year. And you'll find that there are, right in the heart of the city, you have the Christmas market at the Cologne Cathedral that you see. And you can see some of the wonderful things here with the backdrop of the cathedral. There are, right within walking distance of the ship, probably 6 or 7 different markets. So you can really kind of cruise through and enjoy all of this. Until the beginning of December, on Sundays, all of the stores are closed because it is a predominantly Catholic country. And so during the Christmas market period, all of the stores are open throughout all of the week. So it's a nice time to go because you will enjoy it. Not far from this, the Cologne Cathedral is the Alt Market and the Hu Market, and this is where Heinzel's Winter Fairy Tale is set up, and that is a skating rink, and people come throughout the day and into the evening. It's all lit. It's magnificent. And a little bit farther along, you'll find the Market of Angels, and I remember that one being so remarkable because strung all across the top of the market are these shining stars that are kind of creating, the kind of this incredible ceiling in this area. It's a small market, so it's a nice one to enjoy. You'll also find down near the Chocolate Museum, the Harbor Christmas Market, which has a Christmas market on one of the ships that's sitting in the river. So lots of wonderful things here in Cologne to enjoy. And remember, this is also the home of eau de cologne or perfume, so you may want to do a little shopping to bring back as a Christmas gift as well. Strasbourg is one of my favorite places. This is a World UNESCO Heritage Site since 1988, and you're looking at the main town square. Now, the old city is wrapped by the Ill River, and it sits on an island called the Grande Ville. And this is the center square just in front of us where we're looking is the main cathedral. And you can see these incredible buildings that date back to the 11th, 12th, and 13th century, these timbered buildings, and you'll see them through these little winding cobblestone streets. Here you will find amazing food. I love this city for a number of reasons. One is the seat of the European Parliament, so you have this contrast between old and new, but there's something about the French flavor. Here you'll find the vin chaud, which is the hot wine or the mulled wine. Slightly different, you'll also find hot cider. You will find beautiful French delicacies. And the restaurants around, please go and try the incredible Alsace-Lorraine cooking, the cassoulet. It makes you warm and it just adds to the incredible atmosphere that you have here. Now, people will say that Strasbourg is the birthplace of Christmas celebrations, and it really is filled with incredible aromas, and it takes you through this warm atmosphere. There's 300 wooden chalets set up in the center here that you see, and they all offer a variety of different things. The Strasbourg Christmas market is one of the oldest in Europe. There's a gigantic Christmas tree that's completely lit. And the other thing that I love about this part of Colmar and Strasbourg is that they decorate the buildings differently than we do at home. Here we fill our outside of our buildings with Christmas lights. There, they decorate them like the inside of their homes. This is a prime example. You can see the beautiful garlands and the Christmas stockings. And in one of the pictures that I took on my trip, there was a whole bunch of teddy bears just tumbling down the outside of the building. It was magnificent. And of course, the displays in the windows, the macarons, the chocolates, there's lots to see and do here as you travel. We also stop in Basel, Switzerland. Now, I would encourage you to stay a little longer in Basel. Normally, this is our departure point or our disembarkation point, and you don't take the time in Basel, but Switzerland also brings a different charm to the experience. It has a deep-rooted tradition with Christmas markets and as a Christmas city. The streets are lined with pine trees. They border the streets and they're brightly lit. The river runs through the center and the old city is filled with Christmas markets. Here is one of the examples here, the Christmas market in the Münsterplatz. There are 160 traders and artisans that offer their goods for sale in these little rustic wooden chalets. If you're looking for a great, for gift inspiration, you're going to find it here. The other thing you want to try is some of the great food. It's known for the waffles, the Glühwein, the Basel Leckerli, which is the gingerbread, and of course the Swiss raclette and the grilled sausages. Now, one of the things I'm going to point out, one of the experiences I had, because I did stay later here, if you do, watch for the pop-up tent restaurants. One of the things that my husband and I discovered when we were walking down towards the old center from our hotel, we noticed that they were putting up a tent in a parking lot, and we're thinking, I wonder what they're doing there. Is that going to be another Christmas market? Well, when we came back later on in the day, what we discovered is it was a pop-up restaurant. And we thought, you know what, let's try it. And we went in. What is fun, because here I speak French, but the language here is Swiss German. It's slightly different than regular German, and they do speak a bit of French because it borders on France, but it is slightly different. And so we got in there, and it was all locals. They'd come from all outside the outlying area of Basel, and they came in traditionally with their families, and they sat down at long trestle tables, and we all ate fondue. Now, we couldn't communicate because my French was not similar enough to the Swiss French that they were speaking, and our Swiss German was non-existent. So we were drawing pictures, but we had just an incredible evening. So be brave if you're traveling in this area. If you see something that looks interesting and fun, I found the people to be very warm and inviting, and please enjoy it. Give it a try. The Romantic Danube is another option for you. And here we are traveling from Regensburg to Budapest or vice versa. And this is part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So you're going to be traveling through Austria, Hungary. You got a chance to go into Germany as well. We're going to start off in Budapest. In Budapest, I wanted to give you this photograph because it gives you the big picture of Budapest. There are actually 7 bridges. You can see our ships dock. Actually, where you see those ships dock, we dock on the opposite side. Now, on the left-hand side of the photograph, you have the Buda side, which is the Buda Castle and the hill. And on the opposite side is the old city of Pest. The two cities were originally separated, and they came together in 1873, and they merged actually the 3 different cities in the area, Óbuda, Buda, and Pest. And it now sits on the east and the west bank with the hill and the 7 bridges that join it together. You can see the Chain Bridge and the Elizabeth Bridge in the background. So fantastic location for us to be able to step off. And right there are Christmas markets literally across the street. The ideal location, of course, is at the end, the main square in the center of the Váci utca, which is the main boulevard. And it's right in front of the Gerbeau Coffee House, which I highly recommend. If you want to buy some really great gifts, chocolate is one of their specialties, but you can go in and enjoy some of the pastries, marzipan. These are all things that are fun to bring home. So you'll visit the Christmas fair and the winter festival in this market. There are masses of stalls, and as you walk down the pedestrian streets, you're going to find even more. So here you'll smell the scent of traditional honey cookies, mulled wine, the cinnamon tunnel cakes that I mentioned that are made on a wooden dowel and cooked over top of the fire. You will find an incredible sound and light show here as well. So in the evening, it's fantastic. Now, something to note here is that everything has to be confirmed as authentic in these markets. Each year, there's a jury of people from different organizations within the city that will check all the products and make sure that they're all traditionally homemade. So you're not going to find stuff here that was made in China. It's all local from the local areas, and it's absolutely beautiful. One thing you want to check out is the covered market, the main market in Budapest, where you can find some beautiful embroidery and leather goods, but also you can try some of the traditional food in here. You can see some of the incredible sausages. You can try the strudel, the palinka. I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff here to enjoy as you're traveling through this particular area. Vienna is my favorite city in Europe. I love Paris, but Vienna is still one of my favorites. And this is an incredible city for Christmas markets. When you, we are docked a little ways from the old city. It's about 3 subway stops, but we do have a transfer that runs back and forth. And in the center of the old city of Vienna, which is wrapped by the Ringstrasse, you have a concentration of beautiful markets that are around all the incredible monuments. This is known as the City of Waltzes. It is the capital city of Europe, capital city and one of Europe's centers for classical music. Strauss and Mozart composed in this area, so you're going to hear that music everywhere. And these are really an old age tradition. This is one of the first markets. It was started out as the December market, the Krippen market, and now there are 20 official Advent markets throughout that offer different things. So here, this one is in front of the City Hall or the Ratskeller, and you can walk within about a 15-minute walk and you will see many, many of these. They pop up all over the city. There are 12 main markets that you can explore here in Vienna, and definitely try some of the local food here. Here's some of the beautiful Christmas decorations that you can bring home to remind you of this area and also as gifts for guests. Now, Nuremberg also is one of the famous Christmas markets, and it's noted for the red and white awnings that you will find. This is the old square. Now, directly in front of you, you can see the cathedral, and you can kind of see that balcony. That's where the angel comes out and opens the market at the beginning of November. This is one of the oldest. It became, actually, by the 1600s, this market had become so popular that the local priests in the city had to cancel the afternoon service on Christmas Eve because the local market had proved to be so popular that no one attended the mass. So they fixed that. So this has 180 wooden stalls with the white and red cloth awnings. It's known as the Little Town from Wood and Cloth. There are 200 stall holders that present their different wares. Things like the Nuremberg spicy gingerbread that can only be made by official bakers. There are fruit loaves and bakeries or baked goods. There's the Christmas angels and the decorations and the Nuremberg plum people. I'll tell you a little bit about those as we go forward. Anyway, we've got lots and lots of things here. You will never find any garlands or fake Christmas things. They keep an eye on everything. The market department keeps a watchful eye on the stalls and the goods that are offered. So plastic fur garlands and nonstop taped Christmas music or carousels are not permitted. They have to, the stall holders have to compete for the most beautiful and tasteful stall design, and they reap their rewards with a gold, silver, and bronze plum people for the most beautiful stalls. So it's really fantastic. Regensburg is another stop along the way, and this is the home of Pope Benedict, who was the Pope prior to the current Pope. Here you will find these markets situated around the cathedral. This photograph is actually taken from the medieval guardhouse, and you look down over this 500-year-old Neufar church with the classic, beautiful classic columns on the building that we're taking the picture from. And here you'll find the nativity crib scenes with carved figures around the church. You can go and enjoy some of the hidden passageways and courtyards in the Cologne Markt and the Lucretia Market, where the artists and craftsmen set up stalls with wonderful handmade pottery, silk, and glass blowing. So fantastic place to explore. This is an itinerary that we only do at Christmas, Christmas along the Elbe, and it takes you into some beautiful cities as well as a cruise along the Elbe River. Our ship here is a little bit smaller, it's about 90 guests, which is really intimate and beautiful, but just spend a couple of days in Berlin, and then we travel by coach to Wittenberg, where we board the ship and we'll sail to down to Descent, and then from there we travel by coach to Prague, so you get some great spots. Berlin is one of the most beautiful cities in this part of Germany. There's no single Christmas market in Berlin. You can visit over 70 of them here. They range from indoor and covered to outdoor with rides and fun fairs, with markets, with historical themes. So lots of wonderful things to see and do here. Here you can also visit the Gendarme Market, which is famous and one of the most beautiful, with stands for glass blowers, winter delicacies, and origami art. You'll see this origami art throughout. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to explore. We have a couple of days, and then of course you have to see some of the other traditional sites like the Brandenburg Gate, for example. Now, Wittenberg is interesting. Here you'll stroll in the footsteps of Martin Luther, who was the founder of the Protestant Reformation. And you'll see the church where he nailed his 95 Theses to the All Saints Church, and have a walk through the old city to see some of this. Now, this is also 5 centuries ago. He really made a change. This is when we started to celebrate Christmas on December 25th. Up until then, for 5 centuries, children received their gifts on December 6th, which was called St. Nicholas Day. And it's still a tradition you'll see in Europe where the children receive some coins or gifts on December 6th. But now things have shifted to celebrate on December 25th. And that's because Martin Luther wanted to emphasize the importance of Christmas, of Christ's birth on December 25th. So we started a family celebration that is now known as Christmas. As a gift to his son, he wrote the Christmas carol, Von Himmel hoch, from heaven above to earth I come. So you can check out Dresden and walk in the footsteps of Martin Luther, in Wittenberg. And then we get to Dresden, and Dresden was found, this market, the Streitzel Market, was founded in 1434, and it is one of the oldest Christmas markets in Europe, as I mentioned. Now, the focal point here is the world's largest Christmas pyramid, which is a height of 14 meters, and also the world's largest nutcracker. The culinary attraction of the market, however, is the Dresden Christmas Stollen, originally called the Streitzel. And this accounts for this market's name. It's located in the Old Market Square, right in the historic town center. And you can see that it's surrounded by a variety of themed Christmas markets that stretch up the main street up to the railway station. So people can really enjoy this. Here, people can find a variety of things from the outlying areas, which include the Christmas pyramid, the smoking figures and candle holders, indigo dyed printed textile material, glass blown tree decorations. It's fantastic. But one of the key things to see, if you're lucky, is the Dresden Christmas Market is the Pyramid Festival, which happens on the third Saturday prior to the Sunday in Advent, and the Stollen Festival, which is the second Saturday before Advent or during the Advent period. The cake weighs between 3 and 4 tons. And a carriage takes it on a parade through the streets of Dresden to the Christmas market, where it's ceremoniously cut into pieces and distributed amongst the crowd for a small sum, which goes to charity. They have a special knife called the Grand Dresden Stollen knife, which is silver plated. It's about 5.2 feet long and about 26 pounds. And it's been used, the original Baroque knife from 1700. That was the original one, and this is a copy, so it's used. So if you really want to learn about making Stollen, you can take a cooking class with us here, and it's something I make every Christmas as well. Prague, as you can see, beautiful. You can see that dusting of snow. Here you'll be able to enjoy the Christmas markets in Wenceslas Square, as well as the Old Town Square. And here you'll find the astronomical clock. You'll look down and see the cathedral and all the little restaurants. One of the things to shop for here is the Bohemian crystal and also the garnets. Garnet jewelry is quite beautiful here. So you'll get a chance to enjoy this. There's a massive Christmas tree in the center that lights every afternoon at 4:30. So a wonderful time to come and enjoy the Christmas markets. But there are some that are a little bit further away. And apparently one in Peace Square in Prague is used predominantly by the locals. And it's usually the first market to open each season. And it might be a little bit off the beaten track and something fun to look for. So I wanted to wrap up quickly with just some of the highlights of some of the things you might find. Here you can see the Christmas Stollen. It's a fruit bread traditionally soaked in rum or brandy, and it's fantastic. It's something that's a wonderful thing to serve on Christmas morning with a little champagne and orange juice. We also have the Glühwein. So here, throughout the Christmas markets, each market has their own mug, and you purchase these mugs or you put a deposit on them, and that's what you use to drink your Glühwein as you're traveling through the market. You can return it and get your deposit back, or you can keep it. I have a whole collection from the different markets that I've been, and I bring them out every Christmas to share with my family when I make my Glühwein for the Christmas celebration. Now, for those of you who live in the US, you can go to Trader Joe's and you can find Glühwein already made, similar to what you see here in Nuremberg. But we also have a recipe that I'm going to share with you today. So enjoy that. It's really a fun tradition. You'll find the incredible cookies throughout, and a lot of these are used as decorations. You will find them from a variety of different things. Now, I mentioned the prune people before, and these are considered good luck. These are good luck symbols, and they're usually given between Christmas and New Year's, but you'll also find if people have a housewarming, they'll often give them a prune person because, as they say, you will never be without gold or happiness if you have a prune person in your house. So these date back. There's a lot of stories around them, including a man who made them for his children, and also an older gentleman who was very poor, and the kids used to help him with his work around the house. And at Christmas time, he didn't have any money for gifts, so he made them prune people from the plums and the nuts from his home. So lots of great stories here. The Leberkuchen also dates back to 14th century Germany. Was made by the Catholic monks, and it includes honey and spices and nuts. And they actually found a really great way to use the communion wafers. They actually put the sticky dough on top of the communion wafers, and they were able to create. Those were the leftover ones. So they were able to create these beautiful Leberkuchen that are now famous, and you'll find these wonderful gifts to bring home for family and friends. Now, you must try the bratwurst. And the sauerkraut, you'll find it on the streets and all through the markets. And what you see on the right-hand side is the raclette that I talked about in Basel. This is a really lovely melted cheese, and it's always served with pickled, with cornichon, or the sweet pickles, and potatoes. And of course, white wine or beer always goes with it. So you must try that if you're traveling in Switzerland. And then one of my favorite things is the Sacher Torte. So please go and try that in Vienna. You can go to the Sacher Hotel, and you can try it with coffee, with whipped cream, or if you want something really fun to send home to family as a reminder of the Christmas markets, you can actually order online, or you can purchase and have it shipped from the Sacher Hotel, a Sacher Torte. I've done this a number of times, and it's great fun for the people who receive it. And it comes beautifully packaged in this wooden box, and a wonderful, wonderful story attached to it that dates back to the 18th century. But I'm running out of time, so I'm going to keep moving. Here we have Glühwein recipe. You can find this on Viking TV or on our website. Just type in recipes and you will find a variety of recipes. But this is a wonderful, wonderful recipe to use at Christmas time to share with your family and friends. And if you brought home those mugs, great way to do it. And just a couple of other things to put you in the mood. Rick Steves has done a beautiful Christmas book called European Christmas. It ranges and talks about Christmas markets and stories, England to Norway, Burgundy to Bavaria, and Rome, all the way to the top of the Swiss Alps. And here you'll find some stories about the choir, the music, a chance to go into the kitchen with grandma and her special recipes, wonderful photos, and lots of recipes for you to try. And then of course, Bavarian top castles and Christmas markets. This one is a guide to 17 different markets, 7 castles, and it's especially curated restaurants and hotels that you might want to enjoy traveling through Bavaria. So wonderful thing. So quickly, just some of the other markets we visit if you want to explore. The Danube Waltz, which takes you through more of Austria into the Czech Republic and on to Budapest. Cities of Lights, which starts off in Paris, which I love. Paris is magical at Christmas. The Champs-Élysées is lit up. All of the department stores still do those animated windows that some of you might remember as if you were growing up. And also we travel through that central part of Germany, Regensburg, Rudesheim, Heidelberg, beautiful places to explore. Paris to the Swiss Alps gives you that chance to enjoy a little bit more of Switzerland and the Christmas markets, in Basel, in Zurich, and then of course that wonderful trip that I talked about going down through France and Paris. So I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all our travel advisors who have invited their guests to join us today. If you want more information, please contact them and they will be happy to share with you some of the itineraries, the pricing, and some of the insight into this amazing place to explore during the Christmas time period. So Michael, thank you. Let us know if we have any questions, but please, all I can say is Merry Christmas in August, and I hope you'll come and sail with us.
Yes, so we do have some questions, Kim. Our first question is specific to payment forms accepted at those Christmas markets. So do they accept credit cards? Yes,
they do. They accept cash and credit cards. So I didn't have any problem. And I always carry a little bit of cash. I use the bank machines throughout Europe. It's very easy. You'll find them on pretty much every street corner like we have. But credit cards work just fine. And a lot of these places are well equipped to deal with locals and tourists.
Great. And then the next question is specific to bargaining or haggling with some of these vendors. Is that considered rude in Europe, or how would you approach that?
I mean, I think in some places, certainly when you're in Budapest in the main market, you could probably do a little haggling. But what I find is that a lot of these are artisans that have worked hard to produce their own personal, beautiful products. And the Western Europe is probably less open to bargaining than some of the other places that we go. And I think you'll find that the prices, at least I did, the prices are all pretty much the same. So, I mean, you can certainly ask, if you wanted to, but I didn't find that it was something that was expected or done a lot.
Okay. And then,
Fashion,
yeah. And then in terms of seasonality and just, there was a question specific to ensuring when they go that each Christmas market along that route is open. Is there like a preferential time to ensure that every single market that they travel on during that river cruise is open?
yeah, I would recommend the majority of them open around the 24th, 25th of November. So think US Thanksgiving. Um, there are some that open as early as the middle of November in Budapest, but you are not going to find the wide range until you get into that, it's really the first week of December. I always recommend take that last, if you take the last week of November, you're going to, they'll be opening up as you come along the river. But to be really certain, the first week of December is your best option, is your best option. So
Great.
I would do that. Plan for December.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Kim. And I just want to thank all of our travel advisors and their clients again for taking the time to be with us today. If you have any questions on any Christmas market itineraries or any of Viking's itineraries, please reach out to your favorite travel advisor. Thanks for joining Traveling Virtually with Viking, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.